haters talk, let the rumors fly. I ain't got time to wonder why. The good Lord knows the man I am, and I'll die standing tall with a mic in my hand. You can kick rocks if you don't like how I talk. I'm gonna keep on talking and walk my walk. Ain't selling my soul for a seat at your table. I'm rough, I'm raw, I'm wild, I'm able.
Okay, welcome back to Bridging the Gap, and in my opinion, I'm here with my co-host, David Conley.
Thank you for having me, David.
Yeah, Dave, it's always great to get together and talk about what's going on in our opinion.
Yes.
But today we have a special guest appearance by Salisbury City's Mayor Randy Taylor. Mayor Taylor, how are you?
Thanks, James. I appreciate the invite, and I'm glad to be here.
Absolutely. Hey, can you just bring us up to speed on what's going on with this collective bargaining and all this stuff going on?
Yeah, I think the important part, I think, it sort of starts back from a couple of years ago, and I think during the campaign, was what I kept on saying was, our expenses were growing faster than our revenues, and had been a bunch of reasons for that, but one of the primary reasons, I think, after I took office was when the union was adopted, was the collective bargaining and the agreements that we had to agree to, were growing our payroll at a disproportionate rate in excess of our ability to have revenues to support it.
Sure.
So I don't want to give too much shade to the whole situation with regard to the prior administration, but if you look at the last 5 or 6 years, revenues grew by 60%, and so did the expenses. And we had added a lot of full-time employees, and then when we got to the union phase, it exponentially increased even faster. If you look at the city's tax rate, we're the top tax rate in the county. We're third in the state.
Oh, wow.
Right now. So we have a very, very high municipal tax rate, property tax rate, real property tax rate.
Well,
so we're kind of good.
Let me ask you this, Mayor Taylor. Before you became mayor, you were in banking. Am I correct?
Yes.
So money crunching is something that you're used to doing.
Yeah, well, I've been doing arithmetic since probably middle school, but
okay.
but higher level banking, yeah, that's what I did for 25 years. Yes.
Okay, so dealing with finances like what's going on with the city is you're not. This is not something you're new to. So go ahead. I'm sorry.
That's correct. Yeah. So what I began to realize, and so my first budget was in June of 24. It was sort of like drinking from a fire hose, and we did the best we could based on what I was kind of given as a hand.
Sure.
And then the second season, I thought I kind of curbed it a little bit, but unfortunately, there was at least one member of council who's no longer there that worked the back channels and got some side letters agreed to that actually raised our costs as well. And I thought, I can veto this, but I think it was better for the public to find out that, look, we can't afford this. So then that arrives to where we are today. We're in our third agreement, and we are just at an impasse. Now, here's the challenge. We do have a payment gap in our police department, and we need to close that. Unfortunately, we can't do that with any kind of financial flexibilities within the confines of the union.
So you can take care of the police department, but not within the confines of the union. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, so we negotiate with each unit separately, and so these guys want 12%, which we can't afford. These guys want 9%, which we can't afford. These guys. So what we need to be able to do as a city and municipality managing limited resources is be able to adjust to circumstances in the marketplace. For example, in the case of police, fair wages that are competitive with other municipalities around us, other counties around us.
Okay. So where does the FOP play a role in this?
Well, I think their concern is that in absence of a union, they can't get a deal that's sufficient to do that. And I think, unfortunately, oddly enough, it's the very union that we've created for all three divisions, which is all pulling at the same pool of dollars that doesn't allow us to close that gap. It's just it uses up too many resources. And at this point, last year, we used $3 million to carry from our savings account to make up operating. And this year, without ever doing anything based on some of the requests, we'd be closer to $4 or $5 million.
Wow.
And depending on where we landed. So that's obviously an unsustainable model, which will not only hurt our savings account, but it'll also affect our bond rating and a bunch of other stuff. So it's not about the mayor looking to blow up the union to save money. It's the mayor trying to get us onto a financial course that we can live with, and we can use resources where we need to make ourselves successful.
Okay.
Other than that, I guess, then it means higher taxes, right?
Well, that's right. Even if we raise taxes 10%, which would be a Herculean swing in 1 year, usually it's a 2 or 3% conversation, we couldn't break even over operating costs. So we're at a point where nobody can deny the math. And if you are denying the math, you're not looking at the math.
But
Interesting.
Is there any place in the city's money where there's a little leaking? Like, is there anywhere in the city where money is being spent inappropriately, do you think?
Yeah, I mean, is there levels of efficiency that we could be created? Absolutely. And again, that sort of has limited our ability to react to that based on the union. So it's sort of been they ran up the cost and then put us in a union and make it worse, and that would tie our hands. You know, during the campaign, there was a bunch of questions on this topic, and I thought, you know, if management is not treating personnel properly, then it probably is a useful thing for a union. But the implementation of the union has actually worked not at all as I think people thought, and it's become a real hamstring for us and putting us in a really tough financial position.
Interesting. Let me ask you this. If the vote on collective bargaining does not go in the favor of the current agreements, what is your specific backup plan to keep the city services running without any interruption?
Yeah, I think we'd have to make some very surgical furlough decisions about staffing, because we certainly can't spend that kind of money trying to out of the savings account to pay for operating. So we'd have to make a pretty high level furlough decision, and that's not going to be good for morale. It's not going to be good for services. So we need to make the right decision and redirect our resources to fill the gap where we need it.
Okay. Now, do you feel like the council, I know y'all are actually having a council meeting within the next hour and a half, I'd say. Do you feel like the council's behind you right now, or is it an uphill battle you're going to have to fight to get their support?
Yeah, I mean, I think everybody's going to make a good decision. I think at least a few members, I think, have looked at the math, and I think they've come to the right conclusion. I think if you talk to the chief of police and you talk to the fire chief, this administration has been absolutely empathetic to anything that makes us safer, whether that's equipment for firemen or flocks for the police department or take-home cars to make ourselves more competitive. So we're just trying to deal with the math. That's all.
Sure.
It's not about emotion. It's not about politics. Not about pro-union, anti-union. It's about looking at the math and trying to do the right thing for the city.
And actually, I got to let you know that I'm really impressed on you've actually chopped down the party lines when it came to getting things done here in the city, because it seems like you get support from both sides, and of course you may get some shade from both sides, but I'm gonna say, going into it as the first Republican mayor of Salisbury, I'm gonna be honest with you, I didn't know if anyone could be able to get bipartisan support like you've actually been able to do in some areas. And again, haters are going to be haters regardless. If you had critics from the beginning and they're still critics, chances are it's because they haven't changed.
I think
go ahead.
90% of the issues in the city, of any municipality, are not Republican or Democrat, liberal, conservative. It's community centers, it's parks, it's playgrounds, it's lighting in the park, it's fixing roads and curb and gutter, it's getting our PFAS situation squared away. That's just applying resources and plowing things done and getting them done.
I like that. I like that thought pattern of yours. Now, let me ask you this also. Some of the residents feel like they're not getting a clear answer or what they see as being a clear answer. How do you plan to improve transparency and keep the public fully informed during the major decisions like this one?
Well, I don't know what they mean necessarily by transparency. I think we're getting ready to submit the budget next week. We find out our pending revenues. We always find it out every year about January or February. We know what our new net revenues are going to be from real estate, which is our biggest number. And of course, we're always in negotiation on the labor side, so we don't really know what those numbers are. So, from a transparency perspective, they're finding out like we're finding out in real time. We're just trying to navigate the revenue and the expense side in terms of a P&L and look at this thing and say, well, what do we got to do to make this all come out?
I love it. Dave, do you have any questions for him?
No. Well, I guess one little side question would be the park, the city park. They have lighting in the park at night. However, no one is allowed to park at the park at night without getting a fine. So I'm just kind of curious how that, explain that to me, how that would work.
Well, a couple things. So our parks are closed from dusk to dawn. That's generally our rule. That said, you are going to be very impressed with the plan we have for the park, which will start this summer. We're gonna renovate the pedestrian bridge there. We're going to install a new entrance from the Canal Park Drive, which is going to be a tiered step with an arbor. We're going to have new lighting throughout the pedestrian part of the walking path to include appropriate uplighting for some of the larger trees. So the park you're seeing now in its darkness will be dramatically improved with the lights we're getting ready to put in. So whether that rule is going to be hard and fast in terms of people being there at night, I don't know. But I know that our parks generally are closed between dusk and dawn.
No, I do, and thank you, Mayor Taylor. I do want to ask a question before we get back on this with the collective bargaining and things like that. First of all, I want to say thank you for the work that you're doing over in the Fitzwater area and taking up those big slabs of concrete. I don't know what the proper names of those are.
Yeah, culverts or something like that.
Right. Okay. Yes. Now, as far as
the flooding, that was in front of Pep Boys.
Was that supposed to?
Yeah. Once they removed it, the flooding went away.
Oh, amazing. Yeah. Well, here's the question I have for you is how much money is that costing trying to get these things taken care of? I mean, granted, look, I've heard from both sides, including people on the city council that are grateful that we're removing that, but how much is that costing us to get it done?
Well, removal of the bump outs, we call them the bump outs.
Bump outs, that's what they are.
Yes, we're not enduring a lot of expense because we're dealing with our own payroll for our field ops guys. Okay. Now we're going to have some tipping fee on concrete. We're going to have some pavement costs. Now we're going to slurry, what we call slurry, which is a thin layer of paving from Marine Road all the way down to Main, and then we're going to restripe. We're going to put the bike lanes back, but they're going to be on the inside, on the traffic side of the streets. So, and we're going to put the parking back against the curb, which will make it easier for us to clean the streets and blah, 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 blah.
Nice.
So we may have to do some traffic calming there, but we're not sure yet. We're going to kind of play that one by ear. So I think that was the design from the beginning, was to try and make the street narrower and make it, as a result, naturally calming. What was happening was people were busting their tires on those jut outs.
Oh yeah. And safety. It definitely was a safety issue, especially when you're turning that corner. So much going on with the shipyard there, and it was just too much going on there.
Agreed. And so that's another thing. We're in negotiation with the shipyard right now to re-fence that property and put it a little bit higher, and then put a lithograph screening on it. It kind of talks about the zoo and the shipyard, and so it's a little more what's the right word? Aesthetically pleasing as you're going down the road.
Okay. I'm not sure we can do anything about Purdue as far as that. Anyway, we'll leave that one alone. Now, let me get back to this collective bargaining we got going on. If the police officers and firefighters leave due to change in collective bargaining, how will you recruit and retain qualified personnel and maintain public safety?
Well, I think that's part of our challenge. I mean, I think we're fully staffed at the fire department. We had 13 tests this weekend
wow.
for a spot in the fire department. I think the challenge, I think, as we said before, is the entry level, rookie level police department pay, and then the mid up to a mid-tier pay competitive. Some of these counties have many more dollars to deal with than we do with Ocean City and that sort of area, Worcester County. So I don't think we need to be at their pay as much as competitive with their pay, and I think that's where we're trying to head. As far as the general government, we don't get a lot of feedback on competitive pages. I think we're in pretty good shape on the general government side.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you for your time with us. I do have one last question. I mean, I'm looking at all the great work you've done since you've been in office, and I'm wondering, with the election coming up for mayor in about another year and a half, will you be throwing your name back in the hat and continuing your work?
I will. I think we've got about 12 or 13 projects, one of which is I think is my favorite, is the Imagination Center, which is at going to be the zoo, which is going to be a combination children's museum and a new education center, which will be revenue producing. And I think ultimately, support the zoo and pull that expense out of the city budget, because I think it'll be a great thing people will want to see.
Nice.
But yeah, I've got a lot to look forward to in terms of projects, and I certainly am going to put my hat in the ring for next year.
All right.
Exciting, and I do appreciate you truly and everything you're doing. By the way, my wife's not on set right now, but we want to say thank you. A lot of people may not know this, but when it comes to the unhoused or homeless in this city, the mayor has a heart for them, and we're actually going to have a praise in the park, and the mayor has made sure that we have the park. And you actually came out and spoke in the past, and you're truly appreciated for doing all that. And I know that when Bishop Dickerson over at the Christian Shelter had the conversations on the bench, you were there. You were one of the first ones there. So I just want to let you know that we appreciate that you're not forgetting those that may not vote, but also are part of this community.
Well, I appreciate the work you and your wife do. I really do. And it's important work. We all should be participating.
Thank you. Dave, do you have anything else you'd like to ask him before we leave?
No, I just appreciate this opportunity to get to talk to you, Mr. Mayor.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yes, is there anything you would like to say to the constituents before we finish up with this segment?
Yeah, no, I think if anybody's planning on coming tonight, I think you need to come to this from a perspective of me or who over on the council are not trying to take anything so much as we're trying to, I think, re-navigate resources. We care about first responders, we care about fire and police, and general government for that matter. But I think we're just trying to manage the cards we've been dealt and the finances that we've been dealt, and that's our motivation.
Outstanding. Mayor Taylor, thank you again. I know you got to get ready for this council meeting. We're looking forward for a lot more great work to come from you. Thank you again.
All right, James. Thank you, buddy. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you again. And when we come back to Bridging the Gap, we'll be joined by Colin McEvers.
Oh, boy.
Thank you again. This is Bridging the Gap. Hello, welcome back to In My Opinion here on Bridging the Gap. We are now joined by the first host or co-host that we had here on Bridging the Gap, and very, very active Maryland Maverick here, Colin McEvers.
Yes, that's me, Colin McEvers. It's nice to be back on the show. It's been a while just because I've been traveling back and forth between Salisbury and Glen Burnie. Yeah. But it's been like a year since Bridging the Gap started, right?
Well, we technically started 4 years ago on
PAC 14, rather.
Actually, on Charlie Kirk's birthday in 2021, we started.
Okay.
Yeah, but on PAC 14, yes, this is the month that we started last year on. Yes, absolutely. And since then, we've covered a lot of different things, and you've actually branched out with Maryland Maverick and done a lot of stuff.
been trying my best, Maryland Maverick started as the official podcast for the College Republicans when I took over the College Republicans of Maryland. And then as time progressed, then I did more podcasting, more videos. It's just become part of my very personality, part of my nature. I am now the Maryland Maverick.
Yeah, a man of many different hats, and especially like the one.
I know, right? Like this hat right here. I've given up some of my empire. I gave up the Turning Point USA to some great people.
Right.
Lower Shore Young Republicans is now headed by James Wynn, who is incredible.
Yes.
And Dominic, who is a rising star in Wycomico politics.
Very proud of that young man.
So I'm now giving up some of the political organizations because I'm about to graduate from Salisbury University.
Well, actually, you're actually running for delegate in Anne Arundel County, too.
Yes, sir. Delegate, District 32. It's where I grew up, over in Anne Arundel, in Glen Burnie. So it's been fun. I decided to use my height for political office, to try and get some votes.
Most presidents are tall.
Yeah.
That's true. Exactly, right.
Dave, were we like this when we were that age? I mean, he just turned 21. What were you doing at 21?
I didn't have the momentum that this young man has.
I can't even remember what I was doing at 21 because I was doing a lot of things. Hey.
Just kidding, of course.
But I do want to talk to you about some things because I've been getting, I've actually got a couple messages from Baltimore Sun wanting me to actually be interviewed by them because of things you're doing or different speakers that you're trying to get over at the college. What's going on with that?
Yeah, so about a month ago now, I released that we are having, a little bit more than a month ago, we released the fact that Jared Taylor is going to come and speak at Salisbury University, and that's just caused a lot of controversy, a lot of drama, a bunch of hit pieces, of course, people that used to be in the Young Republicans in Maryland, people like Ducky Boy, Little Boy, Brian Griffiths, he was the one that started it with the insults, with the attacks, people calling me a lot, or they were when it first was announced, because a lot of people think that Jared Taylor is this vehement racist, this white supremacist. That's what it says on Wikipedia if you look him up.
Yeah, we're going to do that in a minute.
Exactly. But the whole point of the entire event is to have a conversation, to have open dialogue. There's still, even though the current administration that's running the country has done a lot to combat against DEI policies and censorship, and there have been a lot of people that used to be banned on like Twitter, which is now X, and other platforms. They're able to express themselves more, but we still have a lot of censorship, a lot of cancellation on these college campuses. And so some of these dissident right figures have been canceled and censored for years. Jared Taylor is one of the biggest examples of that. And so we decided, how can we fight against cancel culture and actually do the final blow and destroy censorship on these campuses? How about we have someone who is a white advocate, someone who might be a little bit controversial. Now, I don't personally think that he's very, very controversial, but a lot of people think that he's this very controversial figure. Come and speak at Salisbury, Q&A section at the end so that students and faculty and other people who want to come by, because it's open to the public now. So if you're watching this, if you want to come, you certainly can. They can ask him questions. They can have a conversation. It'll all be recorded. It'll all be publicized. What better way to actually have a legitimate conversation about a controversial topic than have someone like that come? Because if I wanted to have a free speech event and I just had someone that no one knows about, that has no controversial background or anything like that, come and speak, and he just says, free speech is very important. It's a very important thing. It's that's not really going to engage people. That's not going to spark dialogue. So the whole point, really, fundamentally, is to fight back against the censorship that exists on these college campuses. And as a college student for the past couple years, I've seen it happen. I've seen it exist. It is still very, very strong. I mean, it's leftist censorship. It's leftist cancellation. We want to destroy it. And so I think that's the best way to do it. And people can criticize me, but it's all about getting to the truth and having conversations. So I have no shame, no guilt about it.
Okay. Now, when you say he's a white advocate, explain that to me, please.
Yeah, similar to how they're people that are black advocates, Hispanic advocates. They want to speak explicitly for the interests of a certain community. And, for instance, even the Maryland Republican Party has the Maryland Black Republican Council. They're trying to reach out to the black community, help people understand that the Republican Party, as just an example, is actually fighting for the interests of this group, of these individuals. And so what my understanding of white advocacy is, it's just the same thing but with white people. Because people say, well, white doesn't exist, you actually don't have any culture, white people it's just like Europeans or whatever. The fact of the matter is, white people in this country, there's been so much white guilt forced down our throats for years. a lot of people saying you have white privilege, your ancestors were evil, you should never speak on these topics, you are absolutely vile, vermin, scum, terrible. And people like to talk about the fact that there's like anti-white racism in the country that still exists. And it's like, so white advocacy is kind of a counter to that.
Would you say that Mr. Taylor is a racist?
I don't think he's a racist. I don't believe he's a racist.
Okay.
No, and the idea that he's a white supremacist, I think, is especially false, because that would imply that he believes that white people as a group are superior to other races, which is just absolutely false. I think people throw around these terms like racist and white supremacist or whatever, and you ask, well, what does that actually mean?
They have a low vocabulary. They can't think of other words, so they just throw whatever out.
Exactly. And this happens on like Facebook. I'm sure that if any conservatives are watching this now, you've probably been called a racist in the past. I mean, you've probably even been called a racist in the past too.
Not today.
Or not today, but like, you know.
Wait. No, not today.
You had to think about that for a little bit. But, I mean, it's like, what does racism even mean?
Yeah. Do me a favor, and keep talking there, Colin, but I want you to actually find the Wikipedia, what they say about Mr. Taylor. But let me ask you a question. How does Wikipedia get what they say about people? Do people actually go on there? Can anybody add or take away on there? How does Wikipedia come about?
Yeah, Wikipedia isn't a factual thing. It's mostly based on opinion, and like we're talking about with some of these labels. Like, for instance, if somebody wants to classify someone as something, that's like Wikipedia managers or owners or editors or whatever. They have their own opinion or understanding of what someone is, and they just write that on there. And then everybody that looks up someone's name will actually see it. Like, if I wanted to write a Wikipedia page about David James, I could say, I don't know, like, David James
I need to find out if I got one.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Like, I could say, I'm not sure. What are some weird insults that you've gotten in the past from weird people?
They'll probably put it in the comments. You'll find out. Just go back and watch.
Like, I could be like the manager of Wikipedia and put David James is a conspiracy nut, stupid person who is like too Christian or whatever, and he also serves as like the chairman or the owner of BTG Media or Bridging the Gap rather, and all these other organizations. So it's actually like based on opinion. Like another example is, for example, the HHS secretary RFK Jr. If you look up his Wikipedia page, it'll start out by saying he is a conspiracy theorist who is an anti-vaxxer, and he's also the HHS secretary.
Maybe we need to put that on the list too. Real quickly, and I want you to hold that thought. What does it say about Jared Taylor?
Yeah, I'm interested to hear this.
Pops up, Samuel Jared Taylor is an American white supremacist and editor of American Renaissance, an online magazine espousing such opinions, which was founded by Taylor in 1990. He is also the president of American Renaissance parent organization, New Century Foundation, through which many of his books have been published.
So yeah, those other parts are true. Like, he did found and he did establish New Century Foundation, but then you get to the opinions and you get to the semantics and the language. What is being used to label this individual? They say he is a white supremacist, and everything that he does espouses the views of white supremacy. So then you ask, what is white supremacy? White supremacy is the idea that white people of European descent are inherently superior to other races, and that they should rule over other racial groups. Like, they should go and conquer and colonize and kind of like just assert their superiority and dominance over all other racial groups. Whereas white advocacy is simply white people should be able to advocate for their own interests. It's very simple.
Now, let me ask you about your family tree, okay?
Yeah, definitely.
Where's your family originating?
I'm mostly like British, Irish, a little bit of Scottish. I have some Russian here. I also have some Native American heritage as well. My grandfather was an Athabascan native, so I'm not even fully white myself. Actually, I know it might look like I am because I'm very pale, and I used to be a redhead. I used to be a ginger. I do have a soul though. There are some rumors that gingers don't have souls, but my grandfather was a Native American, and yeah, most of it is just like a breed of different European groups. So so, kind of like a European mutt.
Would you consider yourself to be a racist? And I'm saying that because, and I know better, but I want to ask you that. Do you consider yourself to be a racist?
That's a good question. No, I don't consider myself to be a racist. I'm not a racist. I believe that what would be your definition of racist?
Someone who thinks that their race is superior to everybody else.
Yeah, so I'm not a racist. I think I'm a Christian, so I believe that.
I hope you are. I baptized you in
Yeah,
Jesus'
I know,
name.
right? Exactly. So I think everybody should be a Christian. Like, I think that's the truth. That's the true religion. And Christianity asserts that everyone is created equal before God. So I don't believe that there's any superior race. There's no one person who's better inherently than another individual. Now, I might be, this guy right here, this other David might be better at math than me. He might be superior at mathematics.
Cheat off his paper in school.
Exactly. Like, I might be an inferior mathematician or something. Well, you guys went to school together, so
Yes,
you
we
probably
did.
know a little bit more.
We graduated last year.
Oh, yeah?
It took a couple of years.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Who graduated first?
Well, his last name is C, so he gets across the stage first.
Oh, okay. I see. But I might say that I have superior height because I'm taller than you.
Yeah,
Just possible.
You're taller than me.
So, yeah, exactly. I'm taller than you, too. You're a little guy, It's okay. 6'3", 6'3".
6'3", I know.
6'3". So just because I have their traits that are different, or there's a difference in capability or physical traits, that doesn't mean that someone is superior to another person. And the idea that certain racial groups are superior is anti-Christ or anti-Christian. So because I'm a Christian, I don't believe that's legitimate at all.
Okay. And again, I hear exactly where you're coming from, and I heard what you said something earlier. Like, there are different, activists for there's different races altogether. What comes to my mind, and people may not like me saying this, but black people do have black entertainment television now. If there was a white entertainment television, I'm kind of curious on how people would look at that.
Yeah, and the main argument that leftists and people, and a lot of people in general use is, well, America is a white country, so every entertainment is white entertainment, or every advocacy group is white entertainment, or whatever. But that kind of denies the fact, or rejects the fact, that like any other racial groups, white people are just another part of the demographic. We are not like an all-white country. I think in Maryland, white people are about 47% of the population. Black people are about 30% or 32%. Hispanics are growing very large, very, very large, because it's a lot of immigration that's happening. So I think that the Hispanic population is currently like 20% or 15% in Maryland, whereas like 10 years ago it was like 5%. So, America isn't like an all-white country. That's not the case. So to say that all of our laws and all of our Congress, our interest groups and everything like that, white people can't do those things. They can't have advocacy groups. They can't have some sort of whatever. They can't, organize together because everything is just like white, and there's white supremacy in the country, and we have white privilege, and there's white supremacy that controls the country. It's like, if we are a white supremacist country, why is it that Jared Taylor, as a white advocate, simply as a white advocate, has been banned from all of these social media platforms? He's been censored for years, for decades. Whenever you bring him up, people will denounce you, they'll condemn you. I've been condemned by different people. People are attacking me all the time. But if you have some other group, any other group, if you have someone that wants to advocate for those people, if you have DEI programs at Salisbury University, if you have Stacey Abrams come and speak at UMES, no one says anything about it. You don't have to pay $3,500 in security fees, which is what I have to do.
I did hear you got
that is ridiculous. That is unconstitutional, because they are forcing us to pay this exorbitant rate to try and suppress our speech. And so if we are a white supremacist country, which a lot of people claim, why is it that this isn't a normal thing? Why is it that we are attacked and we're thrown all these barriers? If we were, that wouldn't be the case. So I think that point alone is just like, it just dismantles itself on the face.
Well, thank you. I actually want to echo, I think I saw Jermichael Mitchell posted, just go. It's open to the public. It's not just white people, Caucasian can go to it. I think everybody should go.
Yeah.
What's the point there's nothing wrong with asking a question, whether the question is guided to be a little hateful or the question is for like literal wanting to learn something.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with asking a question. Like, there are no stupid questions.
Exactly. And I think I want to add also, since everybody already has judged the cover of the book, now let's go in there and read the book. You know, if it's open to the public, go here, sit down, find out if he is, in fact, a white supremacist. Then if he is, then maybe say what you got to say. But just based on the fact of what people have said, the reason why I did not even respond to Baltimore Sun is, number one, I'm not going to allow anybody else to take my words and twist it up.
Yeah.
You know, above everything else, before anything else, I am a minister.
Yeah.
You know that. That's why I was able to baptize you. And, you know, you and I go to the same church. And if there is an issue, and this still remains the same, because even after watching this or going to this, if I feel some type of way, you know me by now. You know, you stayed in my house, I will come to you and say, hey, Colin, I think you might want to pray about this. But
I agree.
I don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater and say, hey, whoa, I'm going to write this off, because I would actually encourage, if we were to have, I mean, if we were living in the day of the late Martin Luther King or Malcolm X, I would encourage a white person to go to, to hear them also. Why?
Exactly.
Because to base your opinion based off of what everybody else is saying is pretty cheesy. I say, find out for yourself. You don't know, I can say what the old folks used to say when I was growing up, you don't know it's stink until you know, but you're not going to know what it's about until you are actually a part of it.
Yeah,
so,
you don't need a buffer that's going to gaslight. And because like you say, like, whenever anybody wants to shut down a conversation, they start throwing out the words racist. And
It's the terms, yeah.
It's just anything to shut you up. And I with the whole No Kings protest,
again, this is in my opinion.
In my opinion, when I've had people mention like the No Kings thing, I'm like, okay, so you think Donald Trump is a pedophile? Yeah, he's a pedophile. He's a pedophile. I have no proof, but yeah, he's a pedophile. Okay, well, why don't we have a No Pedophiles March? Like, why don't we have, but it's weird because I think nobody would want to sign up for that. Isn't that unusual? Like, if you had a No Pedophiles March, all of a sudden, and, you know, people will say things about Trump like, oh, he's a thief. He's a, what is it? He's a felon. Well, okay, well, why don't we have a No Felons March? No? Oh, okay. So yeah, it's interesting how like words get thrown out to shut down a group so that they can't speak or can't talk and can't voice their ideas or their opinions. And I just see a lot of that going on, and it definitely goes on in the colleges more than anything.
Oh yeah, definitely. At the colleges, like they have no ability, or it seems like they have no ability to actually critically think about something. They see something online, they look up whatever, and they take it on face value. You know that quote that says, it's from like Abraham Lincoln, it's a picture of Abraham Lincoln, it says, don't believe, it's a quote, don't believe everything you see online.
Yeah.
And obviously on, you know, the internet didn't exist when he was alive.
Wow.
It's fake, you know,
Wow.
so it's
well,
you know, it's like, it's a meme, exactly. So it's kind of like the point is don't believe everything you see online, but people kind of just take everything they see for face value. They don't want to learn about it. They don't want to engage in conversation. They immediately think you are a racist, you are reprehensible, and thus you should not come and speak at Salisbury University. You cannot speak anywhere because your views are so reprehensible and so immoral that we could never engage in that. Whereas what we're saying is we just want to have an open dialogue, an open conversation. And it's crazy that people like, and I'll just name a name, Joe Venosa, who has a show here, he is someone that says, oh, we should have free speech and open dialogue and we should have debate and conversation. And then he gets on his show and he's running for office and he says, I just think Colin is acting in bad faith. This is terrible. This is awful. He's spreading hate. It's like, it's so hypocritical. What some of these people, they say, it doesn't align with their actions and what they actually believe. Because they will say one thing, they'll say, we need to have open dialogue, we need to have diversity of thought, of opinion, people should be able to, for a college, we should be able to engage in these conversations. And then the minute something controversial happens, they say, oh no, we can't have that. Colin, you're awful, get out of here, you cannot talk about this. It's crazy, it's honestly ridiculous. And it's not something that we should, as conservatives, as Republicans, Republicans, we should be able to support free speech. I think that's our most fundamental right. And who is the group that has, come after free speech and the First Amendment, free expression the most? It's leftists, the people that are Democrats. We can't acquiesce to what they're trying to push, in my opinion. In my opinion. IMO.
IMO. Well, I can also say this, okay? Being a black man that is a Christian, I've had people tell me before, how are you going to be on that white man's religion? Have you ever tried Jesus?
Exactly.
In other words, it's easy to just be on the outside of something, okay? And not ever give it an opportunity. Because there was a time where actually, no, there really was. Yeah, it was. It was when my mom and them had to beat me and make me go to church. That I didn't want to try Christ. I didn't want to try God. So I had my own thought. But once I tried them, it's not what everybody on the outside thought. I know some people may say, well, that's kind of extreme. Is it? Is it? And granted, they still have the controversy because people say, well, you got that white man's religion and Jesus is black. I don't know what color skin he was on his side, but I do know his blood was red. The problem is that we get so focused on what other people may think if they see you taking part in it. So, like I said, just what I was saying a few minutes ago, with this Jared Taylor, again, when I first was sitting home and I'm like, what's the big deal? They're coming at Colin and everybody's calling me about it because they know Colin and I are close. Let me check who this guy is. I looked at it and immediately said, baby. Called Keisha in the room and said, he says white supremacy here. So again, at face value, I didn't know Wikipedia, anybody can go in there and put that together. I was like, man, this guy's crazy, until I actually did some more research. Instead of saying this man done went crazy, I wanted to see. Now, I do know you can be very experimental when I see what's going on, but that's curiosity sometimes kill a cat, but it also sometimes open up the mind to different things.
Yeah, exactly, and I totally agree. Like, we should be curious about these things, about different conversations, and I've said this to the press, and I've said this to a lot of people, and I am totally in agreement with this, is that I don't support everything that any individual says. Like, I am not in full support of everything Jared Taylor has ever said or expressed or done or whatever. Like, it's not a full blanket endorsement from myself just because I want to have someone come and speak and have a conversation. I think he said some impactful things, some important things, and I think the fact that he has been censored so vehemently for years, for decades, since like 1990, since he started talking about these things.
You weren't alive then.
I know, I wasn't even alive, exactly. This was 15 years before I was born.
We were getting into high school.
Yeah.
Senior high.
Senior high, yeah.
Okay, go ahead, I'm sorry. I'm feeling old now.
I know, right? You guys are a little, no, it's okay.
Easy.
It's okay, boomers. You're not boomers, you're Gen X, right? Gen X?
We're Gen X.
Moving right along.
But yeah, and you were talking a little bit about Jesus and Jesus Christ, and the thing is, like, I think that our country has really strayed away from those values, from Christian values, and I think that's one of the reasons why we see so much discontent and so much disorder in society.
If I talk, I'm gonna keep on talking and walk my walk. You can kick rocks. You can kick rocks. You can kick rocks. I'm gonna keep on talking and walking my walk.